another episode of the Bald Guys on the Bench podcast with your hosts, Graham Cohen and Scott Wasco. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bald Guys on the Bench, a sports comedy podcast for the everyday fan by the everyday fan.
And gee, like we always do when rambling about sports, let's grab one and crack one, buddy.
Cheers.
Oh, that had a little explosion with it. Yeah, good gracious. So, dude, it's Sunday night. Weekend's over. US Open's over. Sports weekend's over. My Knights parade last night's over. What are we going to do, man? Like, I don't know what I'm going to watch at night. My Mets suck. I mean, I'm about to cancel my MLB package because, I mean, we're like a man with no arms. We can't hang. I don't even want to think about it.
It's been a while since you've used that reference, so wow.
I mean, it's a weekly contribution to the podcast, so yeah. I figured why not get it started with the first minute of it. But, you know, like I said the other night, don't care because we're Stanley Cup champions. But our last talk with everybody was the night we won, and that was Tuesday night, and Thursday was the start of the US Open at LA Country Club, and none other than you were there for round one. Tell us what you experienced. How was your day, dude? I mean, number one, I'm very proud of you for getting up as early as you did and making it there because Grammar Police, aka Lone Soldier, and I had a little bet going, no chance he gets there before Fowler makes the turn. And, you know, when I texted you in the morning, I was like, oh, damn, he's up.
Yeah. And folks, I was up at 5 a.m. West Coast time. That's saying something, because if I'm up at 5 a.m., it's because I'm still up at 5 a.m.
I was going to say his alarm woke him up at 5 a.m. for the third time ever. So,
yeah. Facts. Wow. And and it was difficult to say the least because it was my roommate's birthday the night prior, and whew, that was a doozy to say the least. A couple hours of sleep, but anyway, that being said, the excitement was in the air. I'll say this: it was my first time ever going to a U.S. Open event. It was amazing. Granted, I don't have much to what's the word I'm looking for? Compared to, but that being said, you know, and we'll get into this later, you know, all the flack about, you know, the course attendance and all of their stuff. I had a great time. It was overcast all day. I was a little unhappy with that only because, look, the weather was still warm enough. My thing was, it just wasn't, I wanted the sun out because this is going to sound picky over here, but the pictures just didn't come out as good as it does when the sun was out. I mean, that was my only complaint really about it. It's just like some of the pictures that I took on the course, like showing the, you know, the layout, the gallery, you know, a lot of the players, like they looked good, but after seeing what it looked like on TV when the sun actually came out, I was like, what are we on, 2 different golf courses? So that aspect was a little so, but I'm gonna be honest, like I had a blast. You know, getting there was fairly simple actually. The USGA and the course did a good job of the whole parking situation, how they got people from point A to point B. But then again, like we said, when there's only like 23,000 tickets that they gave out, and 16,000 of them was hospitality. It would understand why it was easy to move around that golf course. Golf course,
but as you, a fan there,
I thought it was great.
How easy was it for you to see whatever you wanted to see?
Well, let me put it to you this way. Remember, you know, back in the heyday of Tiger Woods, or heck, even if Tiger was playing right now, you're looking at 5,000 to 10,000 deep every hole he's on, going from one place to another. I could walk casually. I mean, I was following the leaders from day one. Our boy, Ricky Fowler was, lighting it up, so I was following them. And bro, on a side note, that threesome, Ricky Fowler, Adam Scott,
No.
and not Adams.
You know what time it is.
What'd I say?
You know what time it is. It's smack yourself time, fool.
What'd I say?
You said Adam Scott. You watched them for 4 hours. Jason Day and Justin Rose.
I'm thinking.
I mean, at least you got Australia, right? Yeah. And officially, the podcast has now started. Yes, it was a great grouping.
Damn dyslexia. Yeah, it was a great group to watch. Even after they finished, I stayed on the course for another couple of hours and watched some other people play. I mean, it was just easy to get around. The only thing was just how the course layout is. Because a lot of people were saying it, there were some areas because of the length of the golf course and certain holes, it was difficult for the spectators to get around to certain parts of the golf course to see certain shots. I get it. You'll have that type of situation. But other than that, like it was really good. I mean, one of the cool things was for me personally was it was closer towards, I think it was in between hole 5 and hole 6, which on the first day, that was their Ricky and them started on the back. So this is their back nine for them. I'm watching them and I'm walking, and I just happened to glance over to the left, and I was like, oh, that guy looks familiar. And I walk a little bit closer, and sure enough, a buddy of mine that I used to caddy with at the private club back in New York, my boy Chris, I look over, there he is with his wife. And I was like, yo, what's up, my man? And he's like, Graham, dude, what's up? And it was just so cool to see him, considering I haven't seen this dude in like 10 years. Like literally,
That's awesome.
legit. Haven't seen him in 10 years. Dude still lives in SoCal. I mean, he lives in Long Beach here. We chopped it up. It was cool. He is now the head groundskeeper at Calabasas Country Club, and we were just chopping up, and he's just like, hey man, it's like we should hang out, do this and this. And I'm like, dude, totally. I was like, is this still your number? He's like, yep. I'm like, cool.
That's awesome.
So it was cool bumping into him. It was just, everything. It was a chill day. Like I had a lot of fun. It was really fun seeing our boys, our square, go out there and hit some quality golf shots. I mean, when you make 10 birdies in one day, it's Did
you get to oh, sorry, I meant to say this. I just put it in my memory bank. You were talking about your pictures earlier and how you were kind of disappointed in the pictures. Well, I'm just going to throw it out there. The best picture you sent me was of our sticker that you left at LA Country Club.
No, okay. So to be fair, I didn't want them to.
You did. Oh, you're getting ready to make me mad. Don't tell me you didn't actually stick it on that. Graham Cohen, this is smack yourself number 2 moment. Graham. Oh my gosh.
I thought I told you that. This is too quick. I can't have 2 slaps within 7 minutes of the podcast.
If you could know the disappointment.
We'll just get it over with.
Anyhow, you're just going to have to edit this out because I'm like bummed now. I am so disappointed in you. And yes, I use the D word. You got scared. I understand why you got scared, but don't care.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you the one there? Were you the one that was getting followed around by people like, hey, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with those?
What are you gonna...
Dude, I was literally like holding the sticker and like taking pictures with my phone and just having it like just trying to hold it with my fingers so I could take pictures of the course and have the sticker there. And people are looking at me like, what the bleep are you doing? And I'm like, I'm Brandon, bitch. What do you think I'm doing? Like,
oh man, I'm so bummed. You know how many people I sent that picture to? I'm like, Graham left our mark at LA Country Club, and everybody's like, yeah. TP's like, genius move. Yeah, until he listens to this, and he's gonna be like, wah wah wah. Wow. Anyhow,
Wow,
got
I've
to
never
see.
felt so embarrassed of dropping the ball right there. Jesus, God.
I mean, you could have lied and nobody would have known.
I'm sorry. I'm a person that likes to tell the truth. I'm sorry. My bad.
So anyhow, you got to witness history, right?
Yes.
62 from our
That
boy
ain't bad.
with a couple bogeys. And he had that record for all of like 8 minutes till Xander tied him. I mean,
I know,
in the
right?
next group, the group right behind him, right? Weren't they like in back-to-back groups or something like that?
They
I
were.
mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was an amazing first couple days, after day one, all the media and so-called golf, geniuses and traditionalists are like bitching about the course and it's too easy and this and that and it's playing soft. And I'm listening to an interview on Sirius XM, not going to mention the people, and they're like, the president of the club and the head groundskeeper for the USGA are all bummed that, LA hasn't seen sun in like 30 days because we all know it's what called May gray and June gloom, right?
Which still blows my mind. I'm like, this is Southern California.
Right,
How is it June gloom
right.
and like what? But
It's
it's what it is.
and all these people that think they know golf. Have you not watched the U.S. Open at Torrey Pines twice?
Yeah.
They had the same gosh darn thing. Okay. I mean, quit acting like this is the first U.S. Open ever held in Southern California.
Yeah.
What's the old saying? My coldest summer ever was in San Francisco in June. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna save my rant for a little later, but
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say this, dude. Fowler through 36 holes, and I had to like get out the USGA app and look at it. Through 36 holes, my guy had 8 more birdies than he had pars.
I mean, that ain't bad.
18 birdies, 10 pars, and 8 bogeys. I mean,
I'll take that all day, every day.
the hole looked like it was the size of a basketball hoop. And my guy was hooping everything, right?
Yeah.
Everything. If it was inside 15 feet, it was doing nothing but hitting the center of the cup. Okay. Played well. 36 holes. Texted with his dad Friday night. It was awesome. It was awesome. What the guy's done to get back on the radar and get his shit back in gear and become a contender again in major championships. And anybody, I'm going to save that part for that. I'm not even going to get into that.
I know. All the
I'm
juice.
so ready, dude. I'm so ready to just go on it. But
just you're tickling them with the tease. You're teasing them, bro.
Dude, I'm just so ready to go
tease.
at it. My guy finishes, Ricky, did he have his best today? No, he did not. Yesterday, when we finished up the third round, basically Wyndham Clark came out and said in his press conference, Ricky and I could have called the day because of darkness on the 18th tee. And they didn't. He goes, that was the wrong thing to do, to have Ricky and I come back out this morning at 8:00 and then wait to tee off way in the afternoon, right? Wyndham's not blaming the darkness on him making bogey on 17, but he definitely blamed it on Ricky missing the little short putt on 18. He goes, you couldn't see the greens. You couldn't see the undulation. The guy hadn't missed the center of the cup for basically 3 rounds and missed a little kick in, And I told you today before we got on air, did that lose him the golf tournament? Absolutely not. But it affected it. And he goes from having a 1-shot lead, whatever, 1 shot, it is what it is. I don't know, man. He didn't get off to a good start. You were talking about his putter when we were talking earlier. Dude, he didn't hit fairways.
Yeah.
We all know in the US Open, you got to hit fairways.
Yeah.
Every fairway he hit in the first 2 rounds, I mean, and he's rolling the rock. I mean, like, I don't know.
Dude, there was like 2 holes that I know of specifically on the back 9 today that he just barely hit it into the rough and he had to lay up.
The one hole, I think 13.
Yeah,
I was on the way home from Kellen's football game and I'm listening to it on Sirius PGA Tour radio, and he had to chip out sideways to the point where he was still first to play before it got to Wyndham Clark's drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, say what you want, you got to hit fairways. It is what it is. But I've played that golf course, and I've told our listeners, it's one of my favorite places I've ever gotten to play. The history of it, the rules of it, just make it that place, right? I love it. And to watch everybody bitch and moan that the scores are low, even one of my best friends, Jerry, puts it on Facebook, biggest fairway. Yeah, they were the widest fairways in U.S. Open history, but you still got to hit them. If it was that easy, I mean, 10 unders leading after 36 holes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it 10 under the winning score?
Yes, it was.
So,
I mean, the top 4 players besides Ricky that fell backwards all went par, 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 and par.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it was like, oh, they're shooting these low scores. Folks, this isn't Beth Page, okay?
Right.
Like,
it's not Oakmont.
Exactly. Like, it's 2 completely different style of golf courses. And as you saw, even when the sun came out, or should I say because the sun came out, when the fairways sped up a little bit, when the greens sped up a little bit, it's a tricky golf course. Like, you have to really, get around there. And as you noticed, a lot of people that went out later in the evening didn't do well. I mean, when it was still overcast earlier in the day, most of the low scores that came out in the final round today was from all the earlier players.
Yeah.
All of them. So
Fleetwood, backdoor.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. So it's just like,
thanks for playing.
Oh, this and no, that. I'm just like, no, like, it's just sometimes it is what it is. And it's just like there was plenty of opportunities where things could have gone sideways, whether it was for Clark, whether it was for Rory, or even sometimes that it did with Fowler. And it's just like those guys stepped up and made some great shots. Or, there's a couple times that, like Scheffler, there's a couple hole, like what was it when he got the relief when he off the I think it was like 14 where he hit it into the long par 3,
11.
that he hit it into the trees, but because the shot link tower was right there, he got relief from that.
Right.
And then or Rory on 14 when he kind of like plugged it, or not plugged, but he got an embedded ball relief out of the bunker or up next to the bunker, and I was like, what? I was like, where? Like, what? I was like, are we just making up rules now? Like, what's going on?
You don't you don't get relief from an embedded ball in the bunker. It must have been
no, it wasn't in the bunker. It was just outside of it. But it's just like I'm looking at it, and it's just like it's just like where it was, where they were showing the camera. It looked like he was in the bunker, but he wasn't in the bunker. And then it's just like, all right, well, maybe he might drop a couple strokes. They're like, oh no, we're gonna get some relief. They take his driver out, and then he's over here, and now he's over there, and I'm like, what is going on right now? But I mean, there was still some good, some good quality shots that were hit out there today. It was one of those things that I was really looking forward for this afternoon, getting done with work. I said to you, I was like, look, dude, I'm super excited. I'll be done with work by 3:00. Fowler tees, the last group tees off at, what was it, 2:45?
2:30, 2:40, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I'm like, cool. I'll get home, pick up some beer before I get home for the podcast tonight. I get home, and it's just like I was all content on having a few beverages, watching this, put my feet up, watching this golf, and I was excited to do it. And then I'm just like watching it, and I was just like, I mean, like, it was fun, but it's just like, when you're rooting so hard for someone because know of them, you know what I mean? And it's just like you're like rooting for your boy, and just for the situation that it was just like it was just like it was a feel bad. Like, no, I'm trying to say this in the most positive way, you know what I mean? It's just like unfortunate type of a thing, you know what I mean? It's just like today was not his, and here for it to not be your day, and you only shot 5 over at the U.S. Open. That's How many people can do that?
Not only that, you got to put things
How-
in perspective real quick, because our boy shot 75. Okay, finished in 5th place in the U.S. Open. Yeah, he was leading, and it's not about the money for him. But in the long run, he tied for 5th with Tommy Fleetwood, Minwoo Lee. Yeah, he took home 740 grand.
Yeah.
And it's a top 10. So our boy R Squared walked home with 74 grand.
Let's go.
So, I mean, put it in perspective, right?
No, absolutely.
I know exactly what you're talking about, dude, because of the history with Rick, the history with his caddy, and Kellen's game tonight was 7:00 on the East Coast. He teed off 5:40, right, on the East Coast, and I'm watching my watch. I have my phone in my bag.
Yeah.
And by the end of Kellen's 1 hour game, I had like 48 text messages.
Oh, I know. And the thing is, because I knew you were doing the game, I didn't text, I didn't message you because I knew that was the situation.
Right.
Me personally, I think what was making me sad, to be honest, was knowing that you're not watching it. And then, once you finally turn it on, you're going to be like, what the bleep happened?
Oh, I knew what was going on. I
figured.
I know.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Look, there was some great golfing play. Hey, what Wyndham Clark did, the shots. I mean, how many fairways did he hit over the week,
dude? How ballsy was his shot on 15 out of the rough that he was just, even though we only made par, he was being aggressive and he was going for the jugular.
Hey, what?
Or 14, sorry, the par 5.
Let me ask you a question. What do you got to do when you have Rory McIlroy on your tail and you're trying to win a major for the first time?
Yeah, you got to
go for it. Yeah, you got to grow your stones and say, "Hey, we're doing this." And I thought,
let's go, right?
Yeah, and I thought one of the interesting things was the commentators, Paul Azinger, was just because I don't know if he said it or if he heard his caddy say it. He's just like, be the athlete, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what does that mean? I mean, I get it, what, staying in the moment, being energized, taking the risk,
dude. At that point, I didn't hear it, so I'm going off you, but at that point, when you're telling somebody to be an athlete, Paul Azinger, which you played on the tour, won a lot of events, wasn't he a Ryder Cup captain too?
Yeah, he was.
At that point on the back 9, it's not about being an athlete, dude. What's it about? It's about the 6 inches between your ears. And in some people, in my case, 10 inches. But, dude, it's all about staying in the moment. We know you're an athlete because you're here on the back 9 with the lead trying to close out your first major championship. We know you can golf your ball because we've watched it for how many holes?
Yeah, right?
I mean, dude.
He hit all the shots.
Dude, here's a fun stat for you, okay?
Yeah, hit me.
And I didn't even put this in the notes because I wanted to see you. So until today, Wyndham Clark's best major championship finishes. 2021 PGA Championship, tied for 75th. 2022 Open Championship, tied for 76th. That's it. In a dub.
Bro, he got his first dub last month.
At
the Wells Fargo.
At Quail Hollow, another major championship venue. Which tells me right now, my guy can hit fairways.
Yeah.
And my guy, 72 holes, didn't make a double bogey. Okay. U.S. Open, like they always say, bogey's not a bad score. Eliminating the big number. And he did.
Right.
And he did it. Yesterday, on 17, it looked like he was getting ready to make a big number. I know you were at work, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Made bogey. But on a side note, can we please, before we finish wrapping this up, Wyndham Clark, props to you, bro. U.S. Open champion. But can we just talk about Scotty Scheffler? Dude, I know you were at work last night and you didn't get to see his finish, but he holes out from 196 yards on 17. And then he makes birdie on 18 to go 3 under on the two of the hardest holes on the golf course, just to put himself in the second to last group. I told Kristen this morning, I'm like, Scotty Scheffler's winning this.
I mean, bro,
all the guy does is cash checks and come in, top 10s.
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaking of cash and checks, do you remember that little stat I told you earlier today?
That's why I was trying to set you up.
Oh, thank you. So let me know if this is any good.
You said it was since all in the count and since 2023. It's a wraparound season. All 2023, right?
Yeah. Since the calendar season, he's played like 12 or 13 events.
I think you said 12. Yeah.
12. Yeah. Well, this is all off memory, folks. So please don't hold me to slap myself next week.
This isn't a smack yourself moment.
He's played in 12 events. Take a wild guess, folks. What do you think his average money earned per event he has played in? Drum roll. Oh, yeah. How about $1.035 million? What?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Can you say that one more time? Sure, Graham. I could love to. $1.035 million is what he's averaging when he decides to lace him up and go out there. Is that any good? Is there a reason why he's still the number one player in the world? The number one ball striker on tour right now?
Dude. His irons with that little buttercut.
Oh my God.
So good, dude. And to quote Fowler's caddy, our boy Ricky Romano, he used to always tell me, fades get paid. Dude.
Wait, are you talking about our pal?
Our boy.
Oh, not our pal. Oh, okay.
Oh, save that, dude. Save it.
I know.
Don't get me going.
I'm just trying to fire up.
Dave Portnoy. Yeah, my pal. My pal. I'll get going here in a minute. But anybody, and I got a couple text messages and one from somebody I just met, and I'm not even mentioning names. Oh, it's sad to see Fowler choke again. And I want to reach through the phone and grab people by the neck and be like, you can't break 95. Do you understand the sport of golf? Okay. It's an individual sport. It's you versus the world. And it's you only. His tie for fifth finish is his highest finish in a major since 2018.
Right.
He had 3 dark years, right?
Yeah.
And texting with his dad Friday night was so awesome because his dad was fired up. I texted him, I'm like, every putt he hits looks like it's going in again. It's the old vintage Ricky that has the best putting stroke on tour. And his dad literally, and I showed you, he's like, what did he say twice? He's back. He's trending in the right direction. And
bro, from what I saw on Thursday, yeah.
Dude, his irons, and not only irons, but his long irons on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
Sounded so good through the TV coverage. I'm sitting there thinking back to when I played with him in high school and when he was at Oklahoma State. And I've never heard anybody make that sound come off an iron. And I'm going, it sounds like that again. Him going back with Butch. And yeah, this stings. Is he bummed right now? Of course he stings. Is Romano bummed right now? Of course. They're human beings, dude.
Facts.
But I don't give a damn. My boy's back. Romano's been a big part of this. He will never say it's part of it. Not throwing any shade at Scavern, but we all know the real reason he's back, and that's because he's back with Butch.
Yeah.
When Butch retired and stopped traveling with the tour, that stung. And he messed around with different swing coaches for 3 years. And then finally, he was like, Butch, I'll come see you in Vegas. And look what he's doing, dude.
Yeah.
He's trending in the right direction.
No, he definitely is. I mean, dude, even his wedges, dude, his wedges were on point, dude. Everything,
Yeah.
anything he was playing, like, 120 to like, or should I say 80 to 120 was money.
And you play golf, our listeners play golf. When you make every putt you're looking at for 3 days, well, we'll just say for 2 days in the US Open, you're not going to make them for 4 days. Right. Unless you're Tiger in 1997 at the Masters.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not gonna happen, and it's tough when you're trying to scramble to make pars, when you're missing fairways and you're having to lay up and this and that. But I'm stoked. It still stings that he did shoot 75 today. If he shoots even par, he's in a playoff.
Facts. And the thing is, it's like,
not that that's easy.
No, well, and that's my point. For golf, which we've said before, we both believe is the hardest sport that there is. It's all about what's in between the ears. He's obviously aware of what's going on around him. So to deal with who he's playing with, not to mention the group that's in front of him with Rory and Scheffler, it's like, hey, I don't have it right now, but I need to keep it together. Otherwise, it could go south real quick. And he kept it together. He kept it together as well as he could. And there's like, it's all admiration. You know what I mean? It's just like on the biggest stage in that scenario, tip of the cap, my friend. I mean, like who else could be in that same situation and still handle it as well? So I mean, it's like.
Real quick, I'm just going to say this, and I said it to Kristen this morning because she went to bed before it ended last night. She's like, how did Ricky finish? And I was like, he bogeyed 18, and Wyndham Clark birdied 18. And with Wyndham Clark's birdie on 18 last night, it put him in the last group with Ricky. And I said, I think that's going to hurt Rick.
You did say that.
Because I wanted Rick to play with Rory. Because I thought that would have been the ultimate for Rick. And it is what it is, tomato, tomato. But something I saw last night, he missed that little short kick-in putt on 18. Went and did an interview, obviously, his press conference. And then literally in the dark, sat there and signed autographs for kids for 45 minutes.
Yeah. I know. I saw the pictures. It was dark out.
And that to me tells me all that I've said about him the whole time I've known him. Number one, his mom and dad, Rod and Lynn, are awesome people, and they raised him right. And the kid's grounded. I call him a kid because he's still the little high school kid from Murrieta Valley to me, and always will be. He's just got a lot more zeros in his bank account than me, you, and half every friend I know. But, props, dude. You handle yourself like a true professional. The kids love you, and you make us all proud. And to anybody that texted me today saying he choked, you know what you can go choke on.
I guess the last thing that I'll say about that would be one cool thing was so after they finished, and I was trying to tell you, like, I was trying to, because they finished on 9 and how they have it all set up there, I couldn't get around fast enough to try to get to, his caddy Romano. So, because I wanted to try to link up with him and try to figure out, because like I said, he's our boy, and I haven't seen him in almost, I mean, I feel like it's 10, but you keep telling me it's like 6. I don't remember however long it's been since I seen it. But my point is like I miss them, and I'm like, all right, he's doing the scoring tape, he's doing the scoring, doing his interviews, blah 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 blah. I'm like, all right, you know what? I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay anyway. Let me go hit the merchandise tent. Let me see, if I want to get a couple things. I ended up getting a couple things. I ended up getting a sign, or I'm not a sign. I got a sign, but I got a flag, and I was like, you know what? I normally don't care about this, but you know what? Let me go see if I can try to get a signature. And I was fortunate enough. I did get a signature from Fowler. And the one cool thing is I'm going to let all the kids go first. And it was pretty much right before he was going. But while he was signing the flag for me, I said to him, I said, hey, Rick, just want to let you know. I was like, your boy Scotty Wasco just wants to say good job. I just got off the phone with him and he said, congratulations. And he just kind of, as he's signing, he looked up at me, smiled and said, cool, brother. And then just finished and then kept going. I was like, my man.
Yeah.
So I thought
so
that was pretty.
That is awesome. And that's just Rick, dude,
Yeah. It's cool. Yeah.
A fun story that nobody knows. You know it. And I feel like now's the time to tell it.
Okay.
2005, I think. I would have to go look at the glass in my bar right now because I still have it. Ricky and I qualified for the Callaway National Pro Scratch tournament in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, cool.
And Rick and I go out there. Anyhow, we come in third place. He was, I think he was a junior in high school. I might be wrong, whatever. And he was still in the recruiting process. And we come in third. We're one shot tied for third. We're one shot away from being in a playoff for me winning $30,000 and a Chrysler 300 lease for 4 years. And 36-hole event at Greyhawk on the Talon and Raptor course. And in 36 holes, I helped him 4 times. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. My score counted for it. I made some pars where he made pars too.
Okay.
But we're literally, I can see it right now. I don't know what hole it was, but he was already in for bogey. And I had like a 3.5, 4 foot putt left to right downhill for birdie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like trying to read the putt. And he looks at me and he goes, Scotty Wah. And I tell people to this day. And he looks at me and he goes, Scotty Wah. I'm like, what's up? He goes, make it straight. He goes, jam it in. And I'm like, dude, you're already in for bogey. Like, if I make it straight and I miss, like, I'm gonna have a lot coming back. Like, and the announcer said it yesterday, and he goes, this is how I can tell Ricky Fowler's back, because he had a 3.5 foot putt yesterday and he just jammed it right in the middle. And I was like, my boy. So that's not the story that I need to tell. The story is we missed.
I was like, wait, is that the story?
We missed the flight coming back from Scottsdale. We were flying into Ontario, 45-minute flight, right?
Right.
We
Yeah.
missed the flight all because of his dad, Rod, wanted to go to Chipotle for dinner. Because at the time, we did not have Chipotle in Murrieta or Temecula. So we go to Chipotle, we miss our flight. And so Rod's truck is at Ontario Airport. This is back when I lived in French Valley. And Kristen was supposed to meet us at the, was it Ralph's on Clinton Keith?
Yeah.
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 So Kristen was going to meet me at Ralph's on Clinton Keith to pick me up and take me home. Well, our flight ended up not coming in until like 11:30. And, my wife's a teacher. So I called Rizal, one of my buddies, and I was like, hey, can you pick me up? Because Kristen's got to go. She's like, yeah, dude, no worries. So we get to Ralph's, Clinton Keith. Rizal's there waiting. Rod's got this big lifted truck, big motocross guy. And Rizal takes me home. So I get back to work the next day, and two of the guys on his high school team come in to the golf shop at SCGA, and they're like, "Hey, did you hear what happened to Ricky's clubs last night when he dropped you off?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "When you got your luggage out of the back of Rod's truck, you didn't shut the tailgate."
Oh,
And
that's right.
so Ricky grew up in the mountains, and so they're going up a hill. He's got a hard case. His clubs fall out of the car, and I'm like, they're telling me this, and I'm like, oh my god, I just lost the number one ranked junior golfers clubs in the world because I didn't shut the tailgate. So I instantly text Rick. And I'm like, dude, they just told me I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And he was legit mad because he told them not to tell me. So I felt bad. And he was like, it's all good. I've already called Titleist. They got new stuff on the way. And literally 25 minutes later, he texted me. He goes, dude, somebody found my clubs and saw my name on the hard case and brought him to Marietta Valley High School, and he got his clubs back.
There you go.
And I was like, oh man. Thank you. So fast forward to the FedEx Cup playoffs whenever they were in Denver. I forget the name of the course, whatever. I was still at Champions Club, so this was before 2017. I get a random phone call, and it's a media member from Sports Illustrated. And he goes, hey, Scott, I just spent the weekend at the FedEx Cup playoffs and ended up talking to Ricky's dad and actually a guy that you guys were paired up with. And the dude, this is funny, the dude's name that we were paired up, I remember it. His name was Jimmy Walker. Okay. And he said that you were the pro and Ricky was the amateur in that tournament, and they were paired up with you for 2 days. And I wanted to talk to you about, back in the day, how Ricky was. So I call him back, tell him all the thing, we're talking. And, some fun fact that people don't know is Ricky was like the first person I ever knew, and most people knew, to wear a white belt. And his license plate in high school, I can see it right now, a little 4-door coupe Lexus, his license plate was white belt. And so I'm talking to this reporter, and I hang up. And literally 25 minutes later, he calls me back. And I'm like, what is this dude calling me back for?
Right.
And he goes, hey, I just talked to Ricky's dad and told him I talked to you, and it was a great interview. And Ricky's dad asked me if I told him the story about the golf clubs falling out of the back of the truck. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me?
You ain't letting that one. They ain't letting that down.
No. And so I tell him the story. I text his dad, and I'm like, Rod, are you kidding me, dude? You had to throw me under the bus like that? And he goes, dude, it's a great story. The world needs to know about it. Thank God Sports Illustrated guy did not print that in the article. He did quote me on a couple things, the white belt and this and that, but he did not mention the golf clubs falling out of the back of the truck. So, great story. I don't know, man. It's, it sucks. And you got to live it this weekend. I know Taylor Heineke, and when you're a personal friend with somebody, to watch them get shit talked about in the media and this and that, it's like, that's not even me. Like, I'm not in his inner circle, but how did people that are like his brother and his best friend and his family members not just go nuts on social media and just blast these people? And it's been hard for me, knowing Taylor, being on the NFL stage, not saying stuff. And it's, you got to witness it or feel it today, where you're just pulling so hard, not because the emotional, you know what I mean? How many nights have we had with Romano, that we can't talk about,
Yeah.
Like how many, I mean, when you're a friend with somebody, I'm pulling more. I mean, I'm a better friend with Romano than I am with Fowler, but I'm pulling for Romano, dude. I want Rick to win more than anything, but I don't know. So that brings us to our first ever segment. And this segment was an idea of one of our listeners, and that is none other than TP, aka Tyler Pritkin. And after my rant, I go on him every once in a while. He texted me and he goes, dude, you need to have a new segment of the show called #KickRocks. So we're just going to start it right now.
All right, folks, this is the first edition of the Kick Rocks segment. Let's go.
And there's a lot of pressure on this one right now. And I feel like I'm not as fired up as I need to be. But, once I get going, let's go. So here we go, beating the bookie. Talk shit about LA Country Club all you want, bro. The golf course is set up so easy. Oh, this is like a pitch and putt, like the Arnold, or like the, what was it called in Palm Springs?
The Bob Hope?
Whatever. The Bob Hope. There you go. The Bob Hope. It's 25 under is going to win. It's a U.S. Open. Oh, yeah. 10 under was leading after 2. What won? Yeah, I'm not a good math person, but I'm pretty sure 10 under, you moron. Not only that, how much shit did you talk about the U.S. Open when your boy, also a Stanley Cup loser, Brooks Koepka, like yourself, got 17 under at Erin Hills? How much shit were you talking back then? None? Zero? Zilch? Okay? Dude, get out of here. I don't even want to hear it. You were the most bitter person I've ever met in my life. I've never seen a tweet come across being positive from you, except for when you win. Oh, my players netted 17.6 units. Kick Rocks. Post those units then. Let's see it. Let's see it once the tournament starts. Oh, I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I just, that shit pisses me off. This guy can't break 95, okay? His swing speed's probably 85. My boy Buck James can outdrive him with his 70-yard pull cut slice. I mean, come on, dude. Just because you hang out with Brooks Koepka, get out of here, okay? I'm sorry your Panthers got smoked. Let's blame it on the referees. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the final score of the entire series? Like 100-0 to 12? Get out of here, dude. I don't want to hear it, okay? Kick Rocks, segment number 1. I don't have a lot more ammo, but it's all at this guy because I hate the negativity. Like Tyler said tonight, was the golf tournament decided on the last hole? Did Wyndham Clark have to 2-putt from 60 feet? Knowing that if he 2-putted from 60 feet, he's a U.S. Open champion? Knowing what you have to do is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And what did he do? Lagged it up to a no-brainer, no-stress kick-in. Thanks for playing. Game over. Beating the bookie. Sorry, none of your live guys won. And Koepka, Koepka. If Koepka says he doesn't like the golf course, all of a sudden you're saying you don't like the golf course. And Fitzpatrick bitching about the golf course. Oh, it doesn't have a signature hole. It doesn't have great holes. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm sorry. You played. You're like shit. Kick Rocks, dude. #Kick Rocks. I don't know, dude. And once again, I was going to go on this rant earlier. If you're calling Fowler a choke artist, you've obviously never played golf. You probably can't even come in the top 30 in your city championship at your local Muni. Okay? You can't make a 2-foot putt because your fat boys that are drinking 17 beers are like, yeah, pick it up, beating the bookie. You won me $20 last night on a bet. Yeah. Have you ever made a 2-foot putt that matters? Probably not. Don't care.
Oh, it's inside the leather.
And then the last one, and this one goes back to this company called Barstool Sports. We will post a link on Instagram that you can watch this. Dave Portnoy. The best thing you do is take a bite out of pizza.
Facts.
When you're giving me your thoughts on Facebook about my boy, Ricky Romano, who I love, and his brother that I love, and you're saying that Fowler should fire him on the spot because he said, hit a good shot, pal. You need to join the Beating the Bookie party of, I'm selling clues, $5 a piece. I'll give you 3 for $10 because you're obviously clueless. So
Let's go.
I officially, and not that he cares, I officially stopped following anything to deal with that pizza review company, Mincy and all these, or not Mincy, the KFC radio, those guys, PGA, whatever. I don't want to talk about it anymore. How do these people, like you said to me, how do these people take them serious still?
Because of what they say.
What's Fowler? What's Romano supposed to say? Hey, boss, hit a good shot here, dude. No, he's saying hit a good shot, pal, because he's trying to make him comfortable. Obviously,
100%.
you would know. Obviously, you would know if you ever played anything, if you were an athlete, if you ever played anything with pressure on it, which you obviously haven't. The best thing you've done is taken a bite of pizza and made it into a multi-million-dollar company. Whatever. Don't care. Don't talk about sports if you don't have a gosh darn clue. And you don't keep taking a bite of that pepperoni and shut the H up. I'm done. Kick Rocks podcast or moment, what a segment, whatever. Number 1, TP, you're welcome. I hope you're smiling. I hope you're laughing. All of our listeners, this is our new segment.
This is our new segment. It's going to get cleaned up, but it's going to be real good. I like it. I like it.
On that note, I hope everybody watched the Vegas Knights parade last night.
Oh.
I watched it for 3 hours, and I was cracking up watching my boy Wild Bill Carlson, original misfit, hammered drunk, getting basically yanked off the stage by the Vegas Knights publicist because he dropped a couple F-bombs and fell down the stairs. But you know what? It is what it is. It was a parade like no other parades. And something I saw, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast last week. Normally, people go to Vegas to celebrate things, right?
Yeah.
Well, this was the first time the people of Vegas got to celebrate something. Pretty amazing. And if you saw my Instagram post last night with the thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and I mentioned it in the last podcast, there was a quote I put on there: Vegas will never work in hockey will never work in Las Vegas. How'd that look last night?
I mean, like I said on the previous podcast, all those bribes and
here we go. You want Kick Rock segment number 2 in the same episode?
Yeah, let's go.
But I will say this: the coolest thing about the parade that I saw last night, and I wish it was mentioned more, was the banner that they have inside the fortress, and that's the banner of the number 58 and the 58 people that were killed in the massacre on October 1st, 2017, because they had that outside, and the PA announcer actually pointed to it and made a reference, and he said, "We wish these 58 people were here with us, and yell as loud as you can right now for 5 seconds. We're not doing a moment of silence." He goes, "Yell as loud as you can for 5 seconds and let them know." And it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Knowing somebody that died in it, my boy, I had many beverages with him. That was pretty awesome. And I'm like, great, here you go. I'm crying again for the 78th time for my first team as an adult winning a championship. But on that note, it was a good sports weekend. Yes, Kellen's team won. It was a battle, 13-12 to finish off the season. But Graham, lead us out. It's always fun doing this with you, buddy. I'm so glad you got to go to the U.S. Open. I was so pumped for you. You're sending me pictures. I'm more excited that you woke up early enough to go. But no, all joking aside, dude, I'm glad you got to go. I'm glad you got to witness that. I'm glad you got to say what's up to Romano. And the British Open, as they call it, the Open. Sorry, didn't mean to get smacked. There you go. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah.
That was voluntary.
You didn't give me a chance to call you out.
You weren't going to. But anyhow, lead us out, buddy. I love it. We might have some technical difficulties. Sorry if it sounds a little weirder than normal. Graham got me a new microphone and it wasn't charged, and it is what it is. But I am brighter tonight, Badger, so don't throw that at me.
Hey, we'll get this right sooner than later, folks. We're amateurs. This is sooner than later. But I will say this, as I always say at the end of these, it's always a pleasure doing this with you. these next 6 weeks are going to be very difficult because the only thing that's going on is baseball. But maybe we can get some future NFL talk going on. Maybe some speculation or
Absolutely.
mini camp talk, or maybe we can talk a little fantasy football, getting it in there, strategies, different things, leagues. Who knows? We'll have to come up with some new tricks up our sleeves. Unless, something else comes out in the sports world. I mean, look, we're obviously still talking about golf and different things. So, I mean, there's stuff going on. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm all excited about how pretty your face is, bro. I love how lit up it is, and I can see you.
Blah, blah, blah.
That being said, I always love doing this with the best homie. And as he always says, bye-bye.
Good night, beating the bookie.
This episode of the Ball Guys on the Bench podcast is brought to you by our friends at North Star Credit Union and Southern Auto, located in Southeast Virginia.